A cleric in Barovia has told you about the legend of the Icon of Ravenloft. He believes that the lost artifact still exists, resting in the hidden chapel deep within the castle. The chapel remains a safe haven, a place of goodness and light in all that terrible darkness, the cleric explained. If you can bring the icon to me, I can use it to defend the town from Strahd and his minions, and perhaps even find a way to destroy the Vampire Lord once and for all. Now, you stand at the bottom of the stairs leading into the dungeon crypts. The only thing between you and your goal? Endless corridors of darkness and an army of monsters. Hey everybody, won't it always bored, never boring? Halloween is fast approaching, and what better way to celebrate than by playing a spooky game of Dungeons & Dragons Castle Ravenloft. This is my second playthrough of this game. In my first playthrough I did one of the solo missions with just a single character, but now I'm going to play with two characters. We have the cleric and we have Immeril. And we're playing Adventure 2, Find the Icon of Ravenloft. We have a stack of dungeon tiles. Somewhere between the 9th and the 12th tile is a chapel. In the chapel is an icon. If we can clear that chapel of monsters and claim the icon, we win. If we can't do that, ghouls are going to be picking our bones clean in the dark. I'm going to very quickly show you the characters and their special abilities, and then we're going to get straight into it. And I should point out, for this playthrough I am using the recommended character builds from the manual. Our first hero is Immeril, the Eladrin wizard, and this wizard has the special ability Lore. You know the secrets of monsters. While another hero is on the same tile as you, he or she gains a +1 bonus to attack rolls. Immeril gets 2 at-will powers. The first is Magic Missile, attack one monster within 3 tiles of you. If you miss and the monster is more than 1 tile away from you, place it 1 tile closer. The second at-will power is Thunderwave, attack each monster on your tile. After the attack, choose a tile within 1 tile of you, place each monster on that tile. Next we have the special Eladrin utility power, Phase Step. Use this power during your hero phase, place your hero on a tile within 1 tile of you. Our second one-use utility power is Shield. Use this power when a monster hits you. The monster's attack misses, instead you gain a +2 bonus to armor class until the end of your next hero phase. Our super powerful one-use daily power is Fireball. Choose a tile 1 tile away from you, attack each monster on that tile, and we can do some massive damage with that. Each hero also starts with 1 item randomly drawn from the deck. Immeril has got Potion of Healing. Use this item during the hero phase. You or an adjacent hero regains 2 hit points. Our second hero is Thorgrim, the Dwarf Cleric. He has the special always on ability Aid. You know healing techniques. At the end of your hero phase, if you did not attack, one other hero on your tile regains 1 hit point. He has 2 at-will powers. The first is Lance of Faith. Attack one monster within 1 tile of you. If the monster is undead, you deal +1 damage. Our second at-will power is Healing Strike. Attack one adjacent monster. If you hit, choose 1 hero within 1 tile of you. That hero regains 1 hit point. The first of our one-use utility powers is Healing Word. Use this power during your hero phase. 1 hero regains hit points equal to his or her Healing Surge value. Our second utility power is Shield of Faith. Used when you or a hero on your tile is hit by an attack. The attack misses instead. You and each hero within 1 tile of you gains a +2 bonus to armor class until the end of your next hero phase. And our super powerful one-use daily power is Beacon of Hope. Choose a tile within 1 tile of you, attack each monster on that tile. Each hero on the chosen tile regains 1 hit point. And our randomly drawn item is Wand of Teleportation. Use instead of attacking. Choose a tile within 1 tile of you, place each monster on the chosen tile on a tile within 3 tiles of you. And that is that. I'm not front loading the video with a rules description. I will explain things as we go, and we're going to start by activating Immeril. During our hero activation we can move and attack and move, or move twice. Obviously at the moment there is nothing for us to attack, so Immeril is going to move up to a tile edge to start exploring. And Immeril has a speed of 6. We'll just move to there. Once you've completed your hero phase, you move on to your exploration phase. If your hero occupies a square adjacent to an unexplored edge, then we will draw a dungeon tile. And our first tile is a crypt corner with a black arrow. And that black arrow means we will get an encounter in a moment, but first we have to spawn a monster. And that means drawing the top monster card. And we have found a skeleton. That skeleton appears on the bone pile and will activate in a moment. Having completed the exploration phase, we move on to the villain phase. We have to draw an encounter card because we had that black triangle. And the event is Frenzy. Each monster you control activates twice during your villain phase. That's not good news for us because it means that skeleton is going to attack us twice. It's time for the skeleton to activate, so we look at its tactics. If the skeleton is within 1 tile of a hero, it is. It will move adjacent to the closest hero and attack that hero with a charging slice. That is painful. So if the monsters move and they have to move adjacent to someone, we can pick whereabouts they go. So we're going to move the skeleton up here. And now he makes his charging slice attack. So the skeleton will roll a d20 and add 9 to the result. If the result is equal to or better than Immeril's armor class of 14, then Immeril will take 2 points of damage. And that is a natty 20. Fortunately, natty 20s don't do anything for monsters, it's just a successful attack. Now we could immediately activate our shield ability, which would negate those 2 points of damage. And I think I will do that because the skeleton is going to activate a second time and could potentially inflict another point of damage. Immeril only has 6 hit points to start with, and I'm not sure I'm happy about taking that much damage that early on. So we are going to activate Shield. The monster's attack misses, instead you gain a +2 bonus to your armor class till the end of your next hero phase. So that first attack becomes a miss, which means we don't take any damage, but the skeleton now activates a second time. The skeleton is now adjacent to us, so we'll attack with a scimitar. This means it will be rolling a d20, adding 7 to the total instead of 9, and will only inflict 1 damage if successful. And of course, now it has to beat an armor class of 16 instead of 14. Which it actually still does. 10 plus 7 is 17, so we still, despite that shield, take 1 point of damage. So I'm going to pop one of those on our character card. That is not a good start for Immeril. We have had to use our utility power and we still took damage. It is time for Thorgrim to activate, and he wants to do 2 things. He wants to explore another tile, but he also wants to batter that skeleton. So we're going to move up adjacent to the skeleton, and then we are going to attack with a healing strike. This attacks an adjacent monster with a +8 to the dice roll. If we hit, then we will inflict 1 damage, and we can also pick a hero to regain 1 hit point. Obviously, we would use that to heal Immeril. The skeleton has an armor class of 16. And we have rolled a 13 there with our +8, easily enough to hit the skeleton. The skeleton only has 1 hit point, so it is destroyed. And now lots of good things happen. First of all, Immeril heals for 1 hit point. Next, we get to add this card to our experience pool, gifting us 2 experience points. And then we get to draw a treasure card as well, and we have had a lucky find. Draw 3 treasure cards and keep 1, discard the others. And we have found 3 really good cards. Harrowed Experience is basically just an extra experience point. Potion of Healing allows you to restore 2 hit points. We already have one of those. Immeril is carrying it. And then we also have a Lucky Charm, which allows us to re-roll any 1 dice. That's what I'm going to go for. So this Lucky Charm gets added to Thorgrim's stash, and Immeril makes a little joke about how his companion is a leprechaun rather than a dwarf. We may have dealt with that monster, but we are about to face a new one because we are at a tile edge, which means we have to explore in our exploration phase. And we have found the Lonely Crypt, which has a black arrow, which means yet another encounter. But first we reveal our new monster. It is a kobold. Here he is, cute little fella. He's going to go on the bone pile. We now draw our encounter card. We have the environment Haunted Mists. If there is an environment card already in play, discard it. This environment remains in play until a new environment card is drawn. Undead monsters gain a +2 bonus to attack rolls. And I'm going to place that there as a reminder. I will probably forget about it anyway. Next up, our kobold attacks. Fortunately, kobolds are not undead, but it says that if the kobold is within 1 tile of a hero, it attacks the closest hero with a thrown javelin. So it is going to lob its javelin at Thorgrim. We're rolling the d20, adding 9, looking for a total of 16 or more to inflict damage. That's a 13, with a 9 easily enough to hit Thorgrim. Thorgrim takes a wound. That finishes Thorgrim's activation, so it is time for Immeril to activate. Immeril has the ranged attack Magic Missile, which can attack things up to 3 tiles away, so he can continue exploring the tile he's on while also attacking that kobold, which seems like a decent enough plan. So first we move, and then we attack with Magic Missile. Attack 1 monster within 3 tiles with +8 to the dice roll, and we need to equal or beat the kobold's armor class of 13. That is a 2. That does not do it for us. In fact, that was pretty appalling. Never mind. The Magic Missile does have a special ability that it will draw monsters closer if they're more than 1 tile away, but the kobold is within 1 tile rather than more than 1 tile away, so the kobold stays exactly where it is, capering around and doing a little dance to mock us. And to add insult to injury, we have to draw another tile. It is the King's Crypt, and it has a black arrow again, so we are going to get yet another encounter as well as another monster. First, the monster. It's a wolf. he goes on the bone pile. And now we draw another encounter card. We have drawn the Neglected Passage. Draw a tile from the bottom of the dungeon tile stack and place it adjacent to the unexplored edge that is closest to the start tile. Place a new monster on that tile, but do not draw an encounter card. Ouch, that means another monster is coming into play. The new tile is the laboratory, and that will go there. It could have gone either on the left or the right side of the board. It doesn't make a difference. And our monster is a kobold skirmisher. One of the interesting things about the Dungeons & Dragons board games is that when you bring a monster into play, the person who drew the monster card takes control of that monster. No one player can have more than one of the same type of monster. So if Thorgrim had drawn a second kobold, we would have had to have discarded that and drawn again. However, we're on Immeril's turn, so we do not have to discard that kobold. The kobold comes into play as normal. Furthermore, every time either one of the kobolds activates, they will both activate, so they become exponentially more powerful. The other thing to bear in mind is that monsters under your control will activate in sequence. We drew the wolf first, so the wolf will activate, and then the kobolds will activate afterwards. Looking at the wolf's card, we can see that the tactics state if the wolf is adjacent to a hero, it attacks the hero with a bite. If the wolf is within 2 tiles of the hero, it moves adjacent to the closest hero and attacks with a pounce. So we're going to pounce on the elf. We're just going to go to there. Pounce is a +7 to the dice roll, and the wolf is looking to match or beat an armor class of 14. And that's an 18, so that is another hit. So Immeril will take 1 wound. Furthermore, Immeril gets the condition slowed. His speed becomes 2 until the end of his next hero phase. Having activated the wolf, we have to activate the kobolds, and we can activate them in an order of our choosing. We will activate the one at the bottom first. They will move 1 tile towards the closest hero. Next, we have to activate the second kobold. He is going to throw his javelin. He has 2 targets to choose from. We're going to aim at Thorgrim because Thorgrim has a better chance of shrugging off the damage. We're adding 9 to the roll. 16 or more will hurt Thorgrim. That's a 14, so that is another hit on Thorgrim. It's going splendidly. It's Thorgrim's turn to activate, and he really needs to deal with the kobold under his control. Otherwise, both kobolds will activate again this turn. So let's move up adjacent to him, and we are going to hit him with a Healing Strike. Healing Strike is +8, and we need 13 or more. That's a 6, so we have just about done it. And that's a bit of a relief because I messed up my positioning and Immeril was not on the same tile as Thorgrim, which means Thorgrim did not benefit from Immeril's Lore ability, which grants a +1 bonus to attack rolls. First, we remove the kobold. This card gets added to our experience pool. And we also get the treasure card Rejuvenating Onslaught. Until the end of your next hero phase, whenever a hero hits a monster with an attack, that hero regains 1 hit point. That's pretty amazing. And it's even better because we hit something with our Healing Strike ability, which means we get to heal 1 hit point on a hero within 1 tile of us. And the wording on the card doesn't say 1 other hero, it just says 1 hero, so we can actually pick Thorgrim. Thorgrim is going to heal a wound. But of course this is just a minor victory. More dangers lie ahead, we have to draw a new tile. And we have drawn a Rotting Nook, a wonderful place to read your favourite book, especially as there will not be an encounter on this tile. And we have found a ghoul. Here he is, he just wants to be left alone to have his dinner. There's no encounter, so we skip straight to the monster activation. We have to activate our ghoul, who will move adjacent to the closest hero and attack with a Paralysing Claw. That is an attack with a +7 to hit, and if it successfully hits, then the target is immobilized. So we're going to position this ghoul in a way that is as beneficial to us as possible. He's going all the way down there. He is still adjacent to his target, Thorgrim, but he is in such a position that our wizard will have a good opportunity to zap him with a powerful spell next turn. We attack, we are adding +7 to this, and Thorgrim has an armor class of 16. And that's a 19, so that is a hit. Not only will Thorgrim take 1 wound, but he will be immobilized as well. Now I could use my Lucky Charm to reroll the dice, or I could use my Shield of Faith ability to turn the hit into a miss. But I think I would like to save both of those for a little bit later on. I think we might need them more. So for now, I'm just going to have to soak it up and be immobilized. At least I only take 1 wound. And that finishes Thorgrim's turn. Immeril is going to activate, and Immeril has 2 monsters on the same tile as him, which means he is going to activate Thunderwave. We attack each monster on our tile. Any monster that survives gets pushed away to an adjacent tile of our choice. So let's start by attacking the ghoul. The ghoul has an armor class of 16, and we're getting +7 to our dice roll. That's a 17. It's a big hit, easily enough to kill the ghoul. And now we make a second roll for the wolf, this time needing to beat a 14. That is a 10. With our +7, it's enough to kill the wolf as well. A big turn for Immeril, he really needed that. First things first, that's another 3 experience points for the pile. Then I get to draw a treasure card, and I've drawn Burst of Speed. Play this fortune immediately. Your hero can move his or her speed, and that's fantastic because I am actually slowed at the moment, so this is going to give me an extra little bit of movement to get to a tile edge. We're going to go up here. But the fun doesn't stop there. If you remember, during Thorgrim's turn we had the Blessing Rejuvenating Onslaught, which means whenever a hero hits a monster, we heal a wound. We hit 2 monsters, we could potentially heal 2 wounds. Immeril only has 1 damage at the moment. We're back up to full health. That's pretty amazing stuff, especially as that was our first action of the turn. We still get to take a second action. We are going to move, and even though we are slowed and only have a movement of 2, thanks to that treasure card we drew, we have just enough movement to get to a tile edge. Honestly, what an incredible turn for Immeril. But that is the end of his activation. That means his slowed condition is removed. And now we go into the exploration phase, drawing a dungeon tile. Awesome news, it's a crypt corner with a white arrow, which means we don't get an encounter either. Of course, encounter or not, there's always a monster. And we have found a zombie friend, and remember, because we have that environment in play, Haunted Mists, all of the dice rolls this zombie makes are at +2. Here he is. There's no encounter, so we go straight to monster activations, and even though that zombie is spawned right on top of us, first we have to activate the kobold at the bottom of the board. He just advances 1 tile. He's clearly on patrol, he's only just become aware. There's some heroes to deal with. Now the zombie activates, he's going to move adjacent to Immeril, and he's going to punch me with his rotting fist. It's an attack with a +5 modifier. Immeril has an armor class of 14. That's a 3, that's our first monster miss, I think. This really has been a very good turn for Immeril. It's now Thorgrim's turn to activate. Unfortunately, he is immobilized, but he does have a ranged at-will power called Lance of Faith, which will attack anything within 1 tile, so we are going to aim at that zombie. It's a +6 modifier on the dice roll. The zombie has an armor class of 11. And we've rolled a 15, so that is enough to kill the zombie. First we remove the zombie from play. We get yet another experience point. We get the treasure card Distant Sounds. Play this fortune immediately. Look at the top 3 cards of the monster deck. Put them back on the top of the deck in any order. The top 3 monsters are a zombie, a ghoul, and a blazing skeleton. Blazing skeleton is the scariest, I think, so we'll stick that at the bottom. And then the ghoul will deal with the zombie next. So they will go back on the deck in that order. But also, this Blessing Rejuvenating Onslaught stays in effect until the end of your next hero phase, so it was still in effect during this turn. I hit the zombie, which means I get 1 hit point back. That's pretty amazing, but it is the end of my hero phase, which means that Rejuvenating Onslaught is now discarded. And of course, because I was immobilized, because I couldn't draw a new tile, we do not have an exploration phase and we go straight to the villain phase. And because I didn't explore, that means we have to face another encounter. And the encounter is Event Circle of Death. Attack each hero on the active hero's tile. Each undead monster on the active hero's tile regains 1 hit point. Now I do have enough experience points in my experience pool to discard this event if I want to. Whenever you draw an encounter card, if you really don't want to deal with it, you can discard 5 experience points from your pool and avoid the encounter completely. This attack could potentially cause 2 damage to each of my characters. It will cause at least 1, but we've been doing a pretty good job so far of staying healed up thanks to our cleric, so I think I'm just going to suffer the attacks. So this is a +8 attack. First one's against the cleric, who has an arm class of 16. That's a 1, so that is a miss, which means we just take 1 wound as standard, because even if the Circle of Death misses, it inflicts 1 wound. Next we roll for the attack on Immeril. And that's a 5. So that's actually a 13 total, which is also a miss. That is pretty incredible. So again, we take 1 wound, but not 2. I am very happy I decided not to discard this event. We don't have any other monsters to deal with, so it's the end of Thorgrim's turn. And the one thing I must remember to do is discard the immobilized token. Next turn he will be able to move again. It's now Immeril's turn, and we're actually in a position to deal with that kobold at the bottom of the board. Immeril has the magic missile ability, which states attack one monster within 3 tiles. The kobold is within 2, so well within range. So let's do that. It's a +8 to the dice roll, and the kobold has an armor class of 13. And we have rolled a 5. That is just enough. We have squeaked through with an exact roll of 13. Poor kobold. He was just patrolling. He wasn't going to hurt anyone. But his life was not in vain. His death has granted me an experience point. And I've found a crystal ball. I can use this instead of attacking to reveal the top card of any card deck or the top tile of any tile stack. Now I just need to move to explore, so I'm going to move here. And that completes my hero phase. We draw a new dungeon tile. We have found a T-junction. We have also found a black arrow, which means another encounter. Our monster is of course the zombie. We knew that was going to happen. And our event is another neglected passage. Draw a tile from the bottom of the dungeon tile stack and place it adjacent to the unexplored edge that is closest to the start tile. Place a new monster on that tile. So this time we have to place it on the right where we currently have our Haunted Mists environment card. It's a big wide open space. And remember, we have drawn this tile from the bottom of the deck, not from the top, so even though we are placing a new tile, it is not bringing us any closer to our objective of the chapel. We now have to add a monster to that tile, and we know what it is. It's our ghoul friend. Having dealt with that, we have to activate our monsters, first the zombie, then the ghoul. First he moves adjacent, then he attacks. It's +5 to the dice roll with an additional +2 because of Haunted Mists. We have rolled a 14, so that is enough to hit. Immeril will take damage. The zombie actually inflicts damage equal to 1 plus the number of other monsters on the tile, so it's just 1 for now. So with the zombie done, we need to activate our ghoul. He will move 1 tile towards the closest hero. And with that done, Immeril's turn is over, and I'm feeling pretty confident at the moment. For those who aren't keeping track, Immeril and Thorgrim both have 2 wounds. They also both have 2 items, so I'm in a pretty good position. It is now time for Thorgrim to activate, and while he could get to a tile edge to explore a new tile, I know that the next monster is a blazing skeleton, and I want to make sure this zombie is dead first, so I'm just going to move adjacent to the zombie and attack it with a healing strike. So we'll just go there. Healing strike is a +8 attack. And that's an 8. 8 + 8 is 16, easily enough to kill the zombie. That's 1 more experience point for the pile. I'm up to 9 now, I believe. I draw a treasure card, and it is Breath of Life. Your hero regains 1 hit point. That's pretty amazing. And it's even more amazing because I killed a monster with Healing Strike, which means I can pick a hero within 1 tile and they regain 1 hit point. So I'm going to heal Immeril as well, so we're both on 1 wound. Another pretty good turn for the heroes, but again we did not get to a tile edge, so there is no exploration phase, and that means we have to face an encounter card. You always draw an encounter card if you don't draw a tile. And we have drawn Green Slime! Ooh, sorry about that. B-movie fans might know what I'm talking about, but let's get on. We have to attack each hero on the active hero's tile. That would be both of us again. If the active hero is hit by the attack, the active hero discards 1 treasure card at random. Again, I do have enough experience to discard that event, but it's only a +6 attack. Oh, let's soak it. Let's take the damage. First we roll against Thorgrim with an armor class of 16. That is a 16. That means he will take 2 wounds, and we have to randomly discard 1 of our items. It's our Wand of Teleportation. That's really annoying. That's a good item. Now we have to roll for an attack against Immeril. That's a 7. With the +6 modifier, that comes to 13, which means the slime misses Immeril. It is obviously far too busy eating my Wand of Teleportation. Unfortunately, even with a miss, the green slime will inflict a single wound. And I just thought, the cleric has a Shield of Faith ability that can turn a hit into a miss. I maybe should have done that to stop losing that treasure item, but whatever. Let's move on. Thorgrim isn't controlling any monsters, so that ends the round, and we move on to Immeril's turn. Unfortunately, that ghoul is just out of range of our magic missile, otherwise I would have zapped him from here. But never mind, we are going to press on. And we're going to head west because it means I don't have to rearrange the camera just yet. And because our wizard cannot attack, we might as well use our crystal ball. The crystal ball allows us to reveal the top card of any deck or the top tile of any tile stack. so I think we're going to take a quick peek at the top treasure card. And unbelievably, it's a short rest. I think this pretty much happened exactly the same way in my last playthrough. I used the crystal ball and it revealed a short rest. The short rest allows you to flip one of your used powers face up, so that's really good because I did use my shield early on in the game. Now that crystal ball was used in place of my action, but I also have an item called Potion of Healing. And this says use this item during your hero phase, but it doesn't say it costs an action or anything, so I think I'm okay just to use it now. That will restore Immeril's 2 lost hit points, so we are back up to our maximum of 6. It's time to draw a new tile. And we have drawn a room with a white arrow. Things really are going our way at the moment. And of course we draw a monster. As we already knew, it's our blazing skeleton. Let's use my Scooby-Doo one. There are no encounters, so the monsters activate. First the ghoul activates and we'll move 1 tile closer. As long as we keep moving, he shouldn't be much of a problem. And now we activate our blazing skeleton. Let's adjust the camera to zoom in on the action. If a blazing skeleton is within 1 tile of a hero, it attacks each hero on the closest hero's tile with a ball of fire. Fortunately, that means it's just going to attack Immeril, but it is a +7 attack, causing 2 damage if it hits and 1 damage if it misses, and we still have Haunted Mists in play, so it's actually a +9 attack. And yeah, that's a 19, that's a big hit. We take 2 wounds. Fortunately, we drank that healing potion. Swings and roundabouts, innit? And that skeleton isn't going to move, so that is the end of the turn. It's time for Thorgrim to take action. Thorgrim could potentially kill the blazing skeleton this turn, which means he would draw a treasure card, and we know the treasure card is one that allows you to flip up one of your abilities, so it makes sense for us to use an ability now, on the assumption that we will be able to get it back. And the ability we're going to use is Healing Word. Use this power during your hero phase. 1 hero regains hit points equal to his or her healing surge value. Thorgrim is going to use that on himself to heal 3 wounds. Now that ability wasn't in place of moving or attacking, so I still get my turn as normal. I want to move to the edge of a tile so that I can explore next turn, but I also want to position myself so I can attack the blazing skeleton with a Lance of Faith, which will inflict 2 points of damage on undead creatures. First we move, and now we attack. Lance of Faith is +6 to the attack roll, but because I am on the same tile as Immeril, I get a +1 bonus, so we are looking at +7, and we need to match the armor class of 13 on the skeleton. And that is a 17, so we have easily hit the skeleton, and Lance of Faith inflicts an additional +1 damage on undead creatures. That means 2 wounds total, which is enough to kill the blazing skeleton. First we remove the skeleton from the board. It was just the mayor in disguise anyway. We get another 2 experience points, and we get the treasure card Short Rest. Flip up one of your used powers, so I immediately get to recover my ability that I used at the start of the turn. Another amazing turn for the heroes. I cannot believe how well this is going at the moment. And we have to now draw a dungeon tile. And we have drawn a crypt with a black triangle. First we spawn the monster. It's a rat swarm. Fortunately, rats don't benefit from the Haunted Mists environment. There they are, ain't they cute? But before they activate, we have to draw an encounter card. And we have a new environment which will replace our Haunted Mists. It's the Spirit of Doom. Whenever a hero discards a treasure card, he or she takes 1 damage. That seems not so bad as the Haunted Mists, so we're going to keep this and discard Haunted Mists. The rats are within 1 tile of the hero, so they're going to move into the hero's tile, and then they will attack all of the heroes on that tile. So first we place them on the bone pile, and because it's Thorgrim's turn, we will start by attacking Thorgrim. +7 on this dice roll. That's 12, with the +7 easily enough to hit Thorgrim and inflict a wound. Now we attack Immeril. And that's a 20, so again another successful hit, and Immeril takes a wound. Immeril is going to start the turn by casting Thunderwave on the rat swarm. It's a +7, and the rat swarm has an armor class of 12. That's an 18, so that is a successful attack. The rat swarm is decimated. That's 1 more experience point for the pool. And this is ridiculous. Fortune, clear the air. Play this fortune immediately, discard an environment card in play, and then discard this card after playing it. So normally we would have taken 1 wound from discarding clear the air because of our Spirit of Doom environment in play, but this card itself removes Spirit of Doom. So we remove our environment card, and we don't take a wound either. Sometimes everything aligns. And we still have a movement, so we are going to move to a tile edge to continue exploring. Although I am a little bit concerned about Immeril exploring because he has lost 3 hit points. I actually think I'm going to move him into a position but not explore, and then I can cancel whatever encounter card I draw, and then Thorgrim can explore after casting Healing Word on Immeril to get Immeril back up to full health. I think that's going to be the better way of doing it. So Immeril is just going to advance into the next room, but we are not going to a tile edge we do not want to explore. That means we skip the exploration phase and we have to face an encounter. And it is the passage of time. Each hero takes 1 damage. I guess I'm just going to take that damage. It's only 1 damage each. I still have all of my healing surges. It does put Immeril a little bit close to death, but I am going to use Healing Word on him in a moment. Okie dokie, we still need to activate our ghoul, who is trundling up from the bottom of the board, but that's it, that's everything. So it's Thorgrim's turn. He's going to start by casting Healing Word on Immeril. Immeril recovers 3 hit points. And then Thorgrim is going to advance into the room so that he can explore. Unfortunately, he didn't have anything that could attack that ghoul, so we'll just have to ignore him for the time being. We draw our dungeon tile. And luck continues to be with us because we have found the chapel. This is our objective. The chamber ahead glows with the light of faith and goodness. On the pristine altar, an ancient platinum medallion shaped like the sun with a large crystal embedded in its centre waits to be collected. Unfortunately, the chamber isn't empty. Some monsters stand guard as though they were waiting for you to arrive. Here is the Icon of Ravenloft. If one of our heroes finishes their hero phase adjacent to this icon, then we can claim it and use it. That goes on the altar. Look at that, I've placed the chapel the wrong way around, I've just realised. Hold on a moment. That's better. And everything was going so well. Next we have to spawn a monster on the bone pile as normal. We're in luck, it's a kobold skirmisher. However, we now have to draw an additional monster for each hero in play. One is a skeleton, and I'm going to put him so he's actually adjacent to Thorgrim. Our second monster is a spider. There he is. He looks friendly enough. We will pop him on the chapel there. Well, this is bad news bears for Thorgrim. There is no encounter, thankfully. The chapel has a white triangle, but now all of these monsters will activate. First, the kobold skirmisher will attack by throwing a javelin at the closest hero, which means he's lobbing that at Thorgrim. It's a +9 attack requiring a 16 or more. It's an 11, so that is a hit. Thorgrim takes damage. And you know what? I'm actually going to activate Shield of Faith now. So Shield of Faith will turn that hit into a miss so I don't take the damage. Furthermore, both Thorgrim and Immeril will get +2 to their armor class until the end of Thorgrim's next hero activation. I think this is a good time to do it. So we negate that damage. Next up, the skeleton attacks. He's adjacent, so he will hit with a scimitar, which is a +7 attack. He's rolled a 19, so even with my +2 armor class, he still hits and I still take 1 wound. Finally, the spider attacks with an acidic web. This is a +11 attack. And that's a 6. With the +11, that's a total of 17. Normally, that would beat Thorgrim's armor class of 16, but I get that bonus +2 to my armor class, so I'm currently at 18, and that attack completely misses. That finishes Thorgrim's turn. It's now Immeril's turn, and Immeril is about to be a boss, because Immeril has the daily power Fireball. Choose a tile 1 tile away from you, attack each monster on that tile. It's a +7 attack, it does 3 damage if it hits, it does 1 damage even if it misses, and all 3 of the monsters on this tile have 1 hit point each. So basically, Immeril has just killed everyone. Playing with fire, it's what wizards do best. First, the skeleton. Well, that's a 1, so that is a miss, but 1 damage is enough to kill the skeleton. Next, the kobold. That is a natty 20. When you roll a natural 20 in this game, you can spend 5 experience points to level up. And that's exactly what Immeril is going to do, because why not? When you level up, you get 2 more hit points, your armor class goes up by 1, and you get an additional daily power. I'm not even going to bother drawing the daily power because I'm not going to need it. This is pretty much game over for the bad guys. Finally, we roll for the spider. That's a 17, another big hit, and the spider goes down. Amazingly, that is 5 experience points worth of monsters, so that actually replaces the 5 experience points I just spent on leveling up. And then I draw a treasure card, and the treasure card is level up. Play this fortune immediately. You can spend 5 experience points to level up to 2. I've already leveled up, so that just gets discarded. Well, that was pretty awesome, but Immeril's turn isn't over yet. He gets to move as well, so he's going to go and stand next to the Icon of Ravenloft. He will finish his hero phase adjacent to it, which means he can pick it up. And when you scoop up the icon, you can use it in subsequent turns if you need to. It says choose one. Each hero regains 2 hit points, or one hero regains all of his or her hit points. Pretty awesome, but at this stage, not necessary. This scenario ends in a success for the heroes if you kill all of the monsters in the chapel and claim the icon. We have done both of those things, and that means we have won. We don't even need to deal with that ghoul at the bottom of the board. It's a win, and it is a massive win. We have absolutely mopped the floor with the monsters this time around. We had a lot of low value monsters. We didn't have any of the really big stuff. I don't know where all my gargoyles are. This is my second playthrough in a row where I haven't had a gargoyle, and I hate the gargoyles. They're really, really mean. But yes, we've had a lot of luck. The chapel turned up on, I think, tile 10, and it can normally turn up between 9 and 12. So it turned up relatively early, which is a big bonus. I had some really useful treasure items, which helped a lot. And Thorgrim's healing really helped to the point where I didn't even need to use a healing surge, which is pretty much unheard of, I think, for me playing this game. I'm glad this was caught on camera, actually, because this is probably the best run I have ever had. I do think Thorgrim and Immeril are a good combo. Immeril has lots of damage, Thorgrim helps to replenish your lost hit points, so they are a good combo. Who would have thought? An elf and a dwarf, fighting shoulder to shoulder, or more accurately, shoulder to kneecap, as friends, and winning the day. They can now head back to the tavern, and I can go and put the kettle on, because that is it from me for now. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please consider pressing the like button. If you really enjoyed it, please consider subscribing if you don't already do so, and hopefully I'll see you all again very soon. Bye bye everyone, bye bye.